Well, good morning, sports fans. This is a trucker's perspective. On this channel, I'll be talking mostly about the economy, what I see out here on the roadways as far as how the economy looks from my perspective. This will be mostly about cryptocurrency and what I think of it. And yes, I do own cryptocurrency. I may look old, but I got a little bit of cryptocurrency. Now, the first thing I want to say in this video is I am not a financial advisor. This channel is for purely entertainment. It is always best to do your own research. But if you're looking out there right now and you're seeing the United States, the Federal Reserve, printing money like it's monopoly money, inflation at 5%, which is probably more like 15%. Well, let's just put it this way. My house has appreciated, supposedly, 33%. in 2.5 years. Now that tells you there's a lot of inflation going on. But they're inflating it by just flooding the system with dollars. You know, all this pandemic. I'm not gonna talk politics. I'm not gonna talk where I stand on this thing. I'm not gonna talk about, you know, the elections on this channel, or anything that will get me deleted off of YouTube. Once in a while, you know, you'll probably get an idea of what I think about it by just a look at my face. Okay. Now, I'm old. I've been around a long time. I mean, like, let's just put it this way. I've been driving one of these 18-wheelers out here for 45 years off and on. And I like it. It's a good wage. And the one thing about trucking is no matter how bad the economy gets, they still got to have a truck to move goods and services across the United States. But like I said, I'm not going to get into politics of what's going on. Now, I do a little bit of a thing on Twitch once in a while where I do kind of rant a little bit. If you want to check out my Twitch channel, more than happy to. But I'm going to go back to some things I talked about years and years ago, back in the late 70s, early 80s, and my philosophies that I had at that time. And the reason why I'll go back to that is because it almost represents what's going on now with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and you know, Ethereum, etc., etc. And the biggest reason why I got into crypto is because as soon as I started seeing certain government regulators starting to lose their minds and trying to shut it down, that's when I said, I might want to take a look at this here crypto stuff. And then I started listening to people like Michael Saylor, who I think is brilliant. You can find him on YouTube. But years ago, my thought process is, and I'm not going to say whether I was completely correct or not, but I always used to say that capitalism in its purest form will eat itself. And that we always had recession and we always had growth simply to be able to maintain the system in some kind of balance. And what I mean by that is, you go back, let's say you've got 100 companies doing the same thing. Okay? And in a year, you got 50 companies doing the same thing. In other words, what happens is out of that 100 companies, 50 of those companies are going to survive because they did it better than the other 50 companies. Okay? then a couple of years later, you got 25 companies that were doing the same thing. And the other 25 companies went out of business. And so on and so on and so on until you get down to the point where you have one company providing this service because they've put everybody else out of business, kind of like Walmart. You know, all the mom and pop shops are all gone and all that kind of stuff. And then those people can just sit there and charge whatever they want. Well, my idea in those days is that once one faction had all the money, I said at some point the people, now this is what I said in the 70s and the 80s, I said at some time, somewhere, somehow, somebody is going to come up with something else and they're going to call it money. And they're going to tell the people that have basically taken all the money in the world, like the Rothschilds, hang on people, we went a little dark, like the Rothschilds, etc., etc. And I always predicted that there would come a time when somebody would come up with a system, a monetary system, and they would go completely away from the dollar, whether it was European, whether it's the European Union, whether it's, you know, the euro, whether it's the American fiat system, you know, etc., etc. You know, it's like back in the old days, you know, there were seashells. You know, we're talking thousands of years ago. Remember in the Bible it talks about Christ when he came into the temple and they had the coin changers in there. Well, see, the coin changers are kind of like the federal bank. And the bank, you know, like when I started to see that the regulators were starting to go after Bitcoin and all these different, not so much Bitcoin, but let's say Ethereum, Monero, some of these other coins, altcoins. That's when I really started taking a look at it. Plus the fact that they were printing so much money, I just knew that the collapse is inevitable. And that's when I started studying up on Bitcoin. But anyway, to go back to the coin changers, what was really going on there, what a lot of people don't realize, is that there were different types, in other words, the pristine of a coin. Let's say you had 2 gold coins, but one of them was kind of scuffed up. And the money changers in the church, people would bring their coins that weren't pristine enough to give to the church, and they would go to the money changers and they would change their coins. Let's say they would change 5 coins, 10 coins for 5 coins. Kind of like that little thing we were talking about a minute ago. And that's why Christ got all excited, got all pissed off. I mean, these people come in here, they were taking advantage. These money changers were taking advantage because those coins that they had the same amount of gold in them. They just weren't pristine. And they would sit there and take those people's coins, go someplace and remelt those things down and remint them. Literally stealing 50% of the value from those people when they wanted to give money to the church. The Federal Reserve, when it came into existence in 1913, has basically been doing that to us for 108 years. And it's gotten to the point now that our currency is almost worth nothing. And before they're done, because they want to do this reset, and I'm not going to take a political side on this, but people in Davos want to do this reset. Well, along comes this guy named Satoshi. And he creates this thing called Bitcoin. Now, I can't explain it as good as a lot of people out there, but I knew at some point in time somebody was going to come up with a different system, with something that was going to build it where it couldn't be broken. And there would literally be a currency for the entire world. Just like El Salvador is going to go to Bitcoin as its currency. And isn't it funny? About the same time, see, this is when I really started looking at, okay, because that Miami building that fell down, there was a couple of people lived in that building who were relatives of the president of El Salvador. Somebody was trying to send him a message, because if you think about this for a second, you take El Salvador, now Argentina's talking about it, now Chile's talking about going to cryptocurrency, and more specifically going to Bitcoin. A lot of money at stake here, people. A lot of money. And for full disclosure, yes, I own Bitcoin. Of all the coins out there, I believe it is going to be the most stable long term. Now, if you're thinking about it, you know, investing into Bitcoin, I mean, there's a lot of people day traders. There's a lot of people that make a lot of money doing it. Me personally, I'm going to take a lot of my retirement stuff, get a Roth IRA, and I'm going to convert a lot of my stuff into cryptocurrency, and mainly Bitcoin. I think another coin that's going to really do well is, I think it's Ethereum's going to do okay, do pretty well until you guys got to watch for when E2 comes out, Ethereum 2.0, because they've got so much money locked up on that site that when they release all that sometime in March, your Ethereum, your normal Ethereum, is probably going to take a pretty good dip for a while. But anyway, oh, come on, people. Well, what I looked at years and years ago, and somewhere, somehow, sometime, somebody was going to do something, because they were tired of this monetary system literally robbing the working class. You're going to see them fight back, ain't no doubt about it. When you consider that the head of the Fed right now actually worked on Hillary Clinton's campaign, and like I said, I'm not trying to make this political. Gary Gensler, is that his name? They don't want their piggy banks to get robbed, or for the people to have a different option. I mean, you think about this for a minute. Everybody out there, you talk about, go to Africa. That's one reason why I like Cardano so much. One reason why I like Cardano so much is because the guy who's who created Cardano, he's thinking about the entire world. He's thinking about people like in Nigeria. He's thinking about people in Africa that have no way to bank. And all you got to do is have a flippant cell phone and some kind of a crypto wallet, and all of a sudden you have access to an entire system of currency. So the lowliest little person on the totem pole down there can have the same access as the richest person in the world. There's a lot of people out there that don't want that. And they're going to fight against it. But in my opinion, they're going to lose. The only way that they can stop crypto is to shut the internet completely down. And if they do that, they shut down Wells Fargo. They shut down Bank of America. In other words, if the internet goes down, everything goes down. And that's a possibility. But it isn't going to matter one bit if it, it's like I said, it'll be an entire meltdown. It isn't going to matter whether you got money in the bank or whether you got money in crypto. That's when all of a sudden bullets and beans become money, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, my little rant. I'll probably do a little bit every day, talk about different currencies. I just wanted to do this introduction video on talking about crypto and my perspective on it, and that I'm personally invested in it. I have there's 5 coins that I just put my on. I don't even mess with them. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Polygon, and Polkadot. And I'm thinking about getting some XRP. But I'll wait till it takes a little bit of a dip. Anyway, like I said, this is not financial advice. This is purely for your entertainment. I will, however, answer any questions that you put. If you happen to watch this video and you got a question for me, is put it in the description box, or not in the description box, but just send me a message and I will answer it, or I will point you in the direction of somebody who probably knows a lot more than I do. But I'm just going to give you my perspective on what I think is going on. Because see, there's a lot of things that when you talk about monetary, you talk about the economy and everything else. I see trends before they ever happen, because I see what's going out here on the highways. I see how much freight is moving back and forth across the United States. I can tell you when you're going to have a supply chain problem 6 months before you ever see it in the market. Simply because I can see what's going on out here. Just like right now, I haul a lot of produce. And normally this time of year, it is so jammed up in the places that I load that it's like bumper cars in there. Trucks trying to get to the dock, trying to get out of the dock. And this year, I would say we're at about 70% of a normal year. But anyway, this is kind of like my introductory to cryptocurrencies. I will continue to talk with you. Try to make a little short video every day. Tell you what I think. Just in the short time that I've been messing with it, I've noticed a real kind of a trend. That, and like I said, this is just observation of what I've seen. As you watch these cryptos, you watch them go on a run. They'll go up and it'll down, up a little bit, down, they'll go up. And then on Saturday night, let's say midnight Pacific time, 3 o'clock Eastern time, then you'll all of a sudden, if you look over and you watch coins that are based on what they call stable coins, like USD, if you start to see that one going from the red side to the green side, that means that a lot of currency, a lot of people, the big whales they call them, are moving their money from like Bitcoin or Cardano or whatever. They're moving it from there into a stable coin. Paxos has one, USDC. These are coins that pretty much stay right around the dollar value. So instead of losing money, they might move millions of flipping dollars from Bitcoin over to a stable coin. Well, when you see that stable coin start to turn green, going from red to green, then money is moving onto that platform, or moving into that coin. If it's moving into that coin, they're taking it from someplace else. And more than likely, it's a cryptocurrency that when they start pulling it, that cryptocurrency is going to draw back, the price is going to draw back. Now, for somebody like me, I don't even mess with it, because it could go, let's say Bitcoin could go down $2,000. Let's say it go down $2,000 or $3,000. Well, that's only going to, with as much money as I have in Bitcoin, that's only going to affect me a couple $100. And I would imagine the next day it's probably going to go, Now, if I start to see it drop, then I'll pull it out and put it in a stable coin, let it sit there until I wait till the market will come back up. Because it does cost you fees to move that money around. But watch what the government does. And like I said, whenever these people that are totally indebted to the bankers, or bought and paid for by the bankers, and I'm talking about bureaucrats on Capitol Hill. When they're bought and paid for by your traditional fiat money, your traditional bankers, when they start attacking something, that usually means that they're afraid of it. Just like they used to attack this president. I think he was 45, right? Just my opinion. Like I said, this is a trucker's perspective. Well, bye, people. God bless each and every one of you. Go out there and make $1. Ain't nothing wrong with that. God bless America, and God bless each and every one of you. I love everybody out there as a human being. I want the best for you, and I want the best for your families. And I'm talking about I want the best for the world. I think Bitcoin may save this world. I may be wrong, but I truly believe it. And I will invest in it. But like I said, this is not, I'm not a financial advisor, and I ain't advising you to do nothing. I'm just sitting here talking smack like a typical truck driver. Like they say in Mexico, hasta la bye-bye.